When I purchased this from Amazon, its brand name was Maki. I was pretty sure that it was just a generic name, and it indeed was. Apparently, this is GamerX P60 case. Well, the name is not important here because you will probably find a similar case under different names. You will recognize this case by its appearance, probably. This is a micro ATX case at 21.5 liters. If you browse AliExpress, you can find a black version as well as a glass window version as well. The internal layout should remain identical regardless of appearance, but I suggest mesh version over glass since you will want more ventilation. While a glass side panel may look nicer, but that means nothing if your PC ends up overheating. Its internal layout is as standard as it can get. The power supply goes on front, and there is a space for a 120mm fan on top. There isn't much to speak here. Given its size, it can accommodate almost all GPUs you want. Likewise, there shouldn't do any restriction for CPU either. Watercooling, however, seems to be quite limited, unless you are looking into a 120mm AIO. Alright, let's start building with this case. Given its size, I don't foresee many, if any, issues. The spec is on the screen for you to see. Alright, it is done. I've learned some things during the build. First of all, the power supply basket supports both ATX and SFX power supply. Additionally, you are able to screw in a SFX power supply without a need for an adapter. This is pretty convenient and a nice feature to have. You don't see this feature often enough in cases. Secondly, I don't think I should install a top fan here simply because of the cables. It's already cramped as is. I don't want to make it worse. Hot air rises up by nature, so a fan isn't really needed here as long as a rear fan is present. It does help, but it's insignificant in my opinion. When it came to testing the CPU, the all-core turbo for Ryzen 7900 Non-X was 4.6 GHz. After testing for about 5 minutes, the turbo settled down at 4.52 GHz, which was good enough in my book. The temperature for the CPU stayed around 68 degrees Celsius, which was, again, good enough. GPU temperature was equally acceptable during the test. However, with the GPU dumping extra heat, the CPU temperature did go up to 75 degrees Celsius, while the GPU stayed under 70 degrees Celsius. I wager that a top fan would have helped to keep the temperature down. Regardless, the temperature was perfectly acceptable. Okay, since we are here anyway, why not try installing some water cooling kits and see how it goes? From just a glance, I don't feel like a 240mm water cooling AIO kit could fit in there comfortably. The bottom does seem to have just enough space for it, but I feel like that'd be really pushing the limit. Well, let's see how it goes. Only after swapping out the fans with slim fans, I was able to fit the water cooling kit. But does it actually improve the temperature? From what I've been told, installing a radiator on the bottom is to be avoided because it performs not as good. I realize that this is one hell of a mess, but with no cable management feature, there is little I can do. Besides, I just need to test this thing out to see whether it's effective. Upon a CPU stress test, I found out that the temperature as well as all core turbo clock is virtually identical. It's 68 degrees Celsius and 4.52 GHz. I was hoping for water cooling to be better, but it's the same as air cooling. During gaming, it was actually worse than air cooling. CPU temperature was about identical, but the GPU temperature was far worse, hitting 90 degrees Celsius. I think I can explain why. It's simple. The GPU has no breathing room. Yes, there is a pair of fans right underneath it, but they are exhaust fans, meaning they are pushing air out. The GPU fans are intake fans, drawing air in. Essentially, the GPU is not getting enough fresh air, hence the high temperature. Flipping the radiator fans into intake fans is not an option, because I am not going to bring heated air into the case. I've also tried to install a 120mm water cooling kit off camera on the rear, but the power cord got in the way, and it was physically not possible to get it installed. Overall, stick with air cooling. It's less messy and is often just as good as mediocre water cooling. Especially for small form factor cases like this one, it's almost always not worth the hassle to go with water cooling. Having said that, GamerX P60 is a decent case overall. A 21 liters micro ATX case is as small as it can get if you want to install a large GPU. There is no cable management feature, but fortunately it's a mesh case. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching.